He was an early and fervent proponent of blood transfusions, claiming that he could cure infirmities and greatly extend the lifespan by using tubes, or pipes, to connect the sick and the elderly with the healthy and young. The pumped-in blood of a strong, healthy cookmaid or a kitchen wench would surely revivify those at death's doorstep. So confident was Pockridge of his abilities that one lawmaker who knew him jokingly urged Parliament to issue a decree stating that anyone attaining the age of 999 years shall be deemed to all intents and purposes dead in law. This would ensure that relatives of these ancient but sprightly humans could still claim their inheritance, and that vicars would still receive burial fees from their immortal but legally dead parishioners. Pockridge also had a touch of the visionary in him. At a time when ships were made entirely of wood, he proposed building unsinkable metal-hulled ships for the major powers' navies, an invention that did not appear until nearly a century later. In the realm of the arts, he envisioned an orchestra of many-sized drums, all varied in tone, which would be placed in a circle and played by a lone drummer in the middle. In 1741, when he was in his late 40s, Pockridge finally hit upon the invention, or reinvention, that changed his life, and for which he is now remembered. Improvising upon a long tradition of glass-based musical instruments, Pockridge developed what he called his Angelic organ. In the beginning, he played his organ using wooden sticks, much as a related instrument, the Glasspiel, or Verilon, had been played in years previous. Eventually, Pockridge discarded his sticks and began playing the instrument as one rubs a wine glass, with wet fingers tracing the rim. Ever the self-promoter, he advertised himself as a virtuoso of this celestial-sounding instrument. Financial opportunities for 18th century musicians were extremely limited, and only the very finest musicians, such as Handel, who was performing his Messiah in Dublin at approximately the same time that Pockridge arrived on the musical scene, could rely on their talent alone to bring in cash. The rest, like Pockridge, had to rely on gimmicks, or hype. For many female performers, this involved developing a deliberately indecent reputation to reel in the crowds. The announcement for Pockridge's first concert, which appeared in Faulkner's Dublin Journal in the last week of April 1743, showcases the captain's rhetorical gifts. At the theatre in Smock Alley on Tuesday, 3rd May, will be a musical performance upon glasses with other instruments accompanied with voices. This being the first time that glasses were ever introduced in concert, it is hoped that curiosity will induce the town to see what has so much surprised those who have heard them, even at the greatest disadvantage. All gentlemen that love a cheerful glass will undoubtedly be zealous in the affair. One rising member of the local Dublin music scene was a boy soprano named John Carteret Pilkington. 14 years old, Pilkington earned a paltry wage as a freelance verse writer for assorted magazines. 3 different times he and his mother were placed in Marshalsea prison, presumably for debt. Pilkington briefly tried his hand as a naval volunteer, but after a miserable week-long sea voyage he returned to Dublin and sought his solace in a pub. It was here, after settling into a night of drinking warm punch, that Pilkington first met Pockridge. The captain cut quite a figure, Pilkington reported. He was tall and wearing a big wig and a sword. As the two began chatting, Pilkington mentioned his recent singing performance at a concert in Cork. At this, Pockridge eagerly rose up, asking, "Why, can you sing?" When Pilkington said yes, Pockridge implored him to hum a tune. Pilkington happily obliged. When he finished, Pockridge exclaimed, "Bravo! Bravo! By God, I'll make your fortune!" With typical modesty, Pockridge then announced himself to be perhaps the best master of harmony in the known world, already scheming